This was a meeting with a medical personnel, with a nurse at home for elderly people, meeting related to my concerns pertaining to the father is lack of sleep. He doesn't get sleep enough and is tired, is lethargic, is just exhausted, without any energy. And it's not about the energy, but it's about harm. When person doesn't get enough sleep, it's actually really bad for his heart to even exercise. And so this isn't about mode, about feeling exercise and not feeling exercise. He's laying on a bed and he just seems does not get enough sleep, enough rest. This is at least what it appears to me to be the case. Now, this case could derive from various reasons. During MK Ultra, police psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, who instructed my mother, he spent a lot of time next to my mother observing her, interacting with the father who was on the wheelchair during MK Ultra, on how she's doing, whether she's doing this correctly, even using a physical therapist to observe her, how the movements she was doing with the father and so on, and overall how this whole thing would look like, and was correcting her to certain things that he observed that was just not be it, to correct them and so on. It was really a corrective behavior by the psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, who personally spent hours and hours and hours and day and week and month and year after year next to my mother, not always, but on occasion whenever she was at home for elderly people, supervising her, watching her outside of the home for elderly people, interacting with the father who was on the wheelchair. Various reasons could contribute to the father is lack of sleep. However, the main reason which psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, Nurse Yanko, and other medical staff, nursing staff, I should say, physicians from Home for Elderly People, General Hospital that will be coming on a visits to Home for Elderly People, have claimed for my father is lack of sleep that appear more evident than ever during the last 1 month and a half, was a coffee which my mother administered to the father on a daily basis. She loads him with a coffee every morning. And that's what they claim it was during MK Ultra, is what they claim is the main reason. Now, were they playing with the sleeping pills? Were they playing with I don't know how to properly in English, uspavalo. Let's just say sleeping pills, okay? Means used to place one to sleep one. Not really a tranquilizers, but a type of sleeping pills, whatever, is used to make person sleep, to retard him, to slow him down, to maybe even take unnecessary energy from him, because the goal in this place always was to keep my father at bay, and that's basically just compliant enough to have the diapers changed. They did this stuff already to him before he came to Home for Elderly People in 2022. They did this shit. They practiced this type of molestation, torture on my father since sometimes in 1998 at this very Home for Elderly People. That's exactly what the stuff that went on. And so since it didn't stop with sleeping pills. I did mention on the blog they were playing with his issues pertaining to diarrhea. I did, therefore, infections, infectious stuff. They paranoid, incited in a paranoia, talking about the police and my mother, psychiatrist cops, that pertain to my mother using napkins, paper napkins, to wipe cups, plastic cups, for the coffee, for the tea, for which they insisted me likely is the infectious issue that has father afterwards suffering terrible problems with his stomach. All kinds of stuff like this is basically, since the health file, Cartoteca, since the health file is not accessible to me, since no medical information whatsoever is accessible to me, and I have no entry into the home for elderly people whatsoever, the only place I can enter is the entrance of the building of the home for elderly people, and that's all that is, in presence of my mother, that is. So I have no idea about infectious diseases they might have. What goes on inside of the home for elderly people, I have no fucking clue. But I did watch my father suffering enormous, humongous problems pertaining to the stomach issues. He had problems with closed, therefore with releasing himself. They were administering him laxatives for digestion and stuff like this. This was another issue they were playing with. That's why they claimed that he could not go to toilet and this and that he could not relieve himself, and then they would be giving him that kind of stuff, and that's what they do, give to the people on a regular basis, is what my mother claimed. When I say they, like I said, that's what my mother claimed. It's all video recorded. And it's something I also explained nurse whom I have met today. I can only tell you is what I told her. I can only tell you based on what I interact, see with my eyes. One is my father and another one is my mother. And if I see mother giving father coffee, I have a reasonable suspicion, especially based on MK Ultra brainwash, which you have enforced against me during MK Ultra procedure. That's exactly what you were doing. I did explain her, I reminded her about the paranoia that went on inside of this home for elderly people, and way beyond paranoia, about the torture that they administered on me, and for which also they used father, and what they practiced on the father to make impression on me about certain issues that were important to police, to depict me through those issues. Is I explained her that the only thing that I see is what I see, basically, what I have access to. And that's basically mother administering him with a coffee, something I reminded nurse, who was, by the way, also involved in MK Ultra, was done to me already in front of the father, actually to the father in front of me during MK Ultra procedure, and therefore it's a reasonable cause for me, since my father had problems with a lack of sleep for 1.5 months, to have a conversation with somebody from a medical staff, because it's not normal that man does not sleep at night. It's not normal that he is completely exhausted, etc., 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 right? Well, they were anticipating I'm going to get into whatever other issues they brainwashed with, but I did not. I was not interested. I wanted to make this a factual thing. I wanted to make this her to understand also that I don't have, I explained her absolutely everything. I explained her, including the issue behind the home for elderly people, which doesn't allow me to interact with the physicians, with the medical staff, is not granting me access so that I would even know what type of medications or sleeping pills. It could be this issue could be pertaining to the sleeping pills that father doesn't get, that he is all drowsy, tired, completely fucked up. It could be that too. However, when you draw the conclusion that my father tells that he does not sleep at night, that means that those are not sleeping pills. Because if those would be sleeping, on the other hand, it could be, because if he sleeps during the daytime, he might not get enough sleep during the nighttime. There are many different ways, and the filthy play, dirty play, deadly play with a cancer, play with stomach problems, play with intestines foremost, play with the colon cancer issues. That's what we are talking about, the laxatives. That's what we are talking about. Exaggerated laxatives is exactly what they're going to do to you. They will cause you wounds on your stomach, on your intestines, colon. They will end up with a cancer. It's nothing funny about it. He's got this tube hooked up to his stomach already for 3 years inside of this home for elderly people. There's nothing funny about this situation. Stuff they were doing with infections and stuff is just bizarre, insane, violent toward me as a son, that I am treated in such a way, including, and I did not accent that I'm not allowed to go see father upstairs and visit him and so on, but which is the case. But I wanted to accent about my not even having the ability to know what the fuck is going on while watching my own father, therefore dying in front of me, falling apart in front of me. I accented, repeated retardation process in respect to his physical fitness rehabilitation, in which I invested. Every time I try to rehabilitate father to the degree that so he could actually walk, which I did twice, I put him on astonishing, capable to walk a bit on his own and even stand up and stuff like this. They would give him a stomach infection, horrific stomach infection, and on another occasion what they would do is they would simply close the home for elderly people for everybody because of the stomach infection and stuff like this. It's this kind of stuff that goes on. And there was other occasions that once he start to do better, they immediately attack. They always do something so that I cannot get to the father and stuff like this. This shit is repeating, and when you look at the graph of all this, when I draw the conclusion about it, they are systematically killing him with issues that I stated to you. Every time he's doing a little bit better, like he was doing, like I posted again on the internet, which is visible. 3 days ago he was doing much better. The only thing that happened is the next day they delivered him dead, basically. And today again semi-dead. So that's a basically systematic takedown of the person. That's basically a systematic kill. I addressed the home for elderly people from my perspective indifferent than I told them. There's no really difference for me, I told her, when it comes to home for elderly people, where there will be Germans in a Gestapo uniforms that would be walking around, or you. I told her there's actually no difference between you and between them. Extremely unpleased with their service. I just wanted to know the answer here about either sleeping pills or a coffee which mother continues to load my father with every morning from a medical personnel from Home for Elderly People. Because those are two things I can assume. I can assume sleeping pill issue, and I don't have to assume, is basically what I see on a daily basis, is mother administering father with a cup of coffee, which was highly advised not to do by the medical staff from Home for Elderly People at the department where they keep my father. That's basically room 203. That's basically on the second floor. I had technicians gesturing me to not give father drink at all, and absolutely to not give him because of his tube to the stomach, which is something I do not agree with the technicians. They accented the possibility of choking. They might accenting me absolutely not give him a coffee. That coffee is not good. And they also spoke about during MKH about the stuff, just as I stated earlier to you, that I did not yet. In fact, during MKH they were driving me insane with exactly father basically like dead on the wheelchair, police, psychiatrist, cops, something I already discussed in a previous video about the father. How it was a coffee, in fact, that they investigated the stuff, and then in fact it was a coffee that was too much coffee that was given to the father and stuff like this. And so when I tried to have this conversation with the medical staff from medical professionals, either nurses or physicians, doctors, administrative staff, main manager, Mateja Jeric, or a social worker, the only person that was dedicated to me was a girl, Maya. You're gonna hear it's in Slovenian conversation. It took me 22 minutes to it took 22 minutes for her to approach me. I deemed this was very unprofessional, extremely unprofessional, and it was everything based on MKH or brainwash. I can't say this is another form of gaslighting, continuation of the gaslighting, really through repetition, the stuff that went on through MK Ultra, through which they drove insane, basically, and they continue to drive insane with these issues without, you're going to see, without giving any kind of clear answers or even taking an initiative, interest, I should say, in my questions, which is bizarre, insane, completely fucked up, to put it plain and simple. Before I got a hold of her, therefore, before I got a hold of Maya, there was another nurse that approached to the receptionist, which I want to thank her for her initiative to help me out when I requested to speak to somebody. She did notify, she tried her best with social workers. She told me there's nobody here. As for a main administrator, manager, Mateja Jeric, not available. I saw her over there, but it doesn't matter really. Nobody also available for administration for this to meet me. Nurse expressed the interest, skinny, tall nurse expressed the interest in meeting me, maybe next to the other nurse. That would be after she would attend the meeting. So like I said, it took me 22 minutes to meet this nurse, Maya. I must also say that they did not even inform me I'm going to have to wait 22 minutes, which was kind of awkward because I had mother waiting on me to take her home. Today, mother decided that we can use the car again. But based on MK Ultra scenario, that we can use the car again is when my father is already dead. That's what my mother told me. When your father is 100% dead, that I'm secure that he is dead, there is no point of return, that he is dead 100%. Those are the words of my mother to me during MK Ultra. Then you're gonna start to use the car again. Mother is gonna have definitely problem with me, is not gonna have peace in this life till we clarify these things. So the stuff they're doing is intensifying, and it's not gonna end good. For me, it's definitely not gonna end good. And I don't know how it's gonna end for Mama, and I don't know how it's gonna end for Home for Elderly People staff. Like I said, I compared them with Gestapo, with the Germans. I told them it would actually be no difference whether there would be Germans in Gestapo uniforms walking around here or it's you. I told her, I don't really like any one of you inside of this Home for Elderly People. It's just plain and simple. 22 minutes time, the first nurse that came did not even address me with concern after receptionist notified her about my problem. And another nurse, she just spoke in front of me with the receptionist based on MK Ultra scenario, did exactly what she told me she would do. She exampled me with this type of stuff in front of other people already, and would not even provide the answer on, since she did not have no time with me to speak, on how long would it take, since she suggested that after her meeting is over, that she would meet also with me and with other nurse. On how long that's gonna take. She didn't provide anything. So I waited 22 minutes, then I get a second nurse, and I must say it was extremely unprofessional. The same shit she did also as the one that she rehearsed with me during MK Ultra. And how it all ended without my even getting straight answer on what steps she's going to take and how she's going to, when she's going to inform me. In fact, she belittled me by saying to me that I should stop to meet her sometimes next week, because she have obviously Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's basically 4 days off. Today's Wednesday. So if this isn't fucked up, I don't know what it is. And for that matter, I expressed her my disappointment with professionalism pertaining to health concerns of the relatives. The rest is really in Slovenian language. It's pretty much the stuff that I explained to you. I explained her that I deliberately repeated the circumstances surrounding me at this Home for Elderly People, including MK Ultra, what went on. My not being allowed to go into the building, have any kind of overview about what medications father, I should say, or sleeping pills, whatever father receives, what they're doing with him. And she confirmed that she knows that I'm not allowed to see anything, I'm not allowed basically anything. And yeah, like I said, disregarded me exactly as I stated, and I wanted to make sure that she understands that I'm not happy with this kind of conduct, because it doesn't give any kind of answers or provide any kind of assurance that some steps are going to be taken. I asked her, can you at least make sure that my mother no longer would give him a coffee mornings and stuff like this? She wouldn't even answer that. So to me this stinks. My father is without the sleep already for 1 month and a half, a tremendous lack of sleep, and it's going basically against what even the physicians at Home for Elderly People, I should say nursing staff, advised me in respect to the coffee. You know, if really something happened to the father, and it's exactly what I stated about the car, that my mother started to allow the car again, you know, that's exactly what it was. It's going to be even worse for this scum. The following is recording is in a Slovenian language. Pretty much, if you want to translate this stuff, you can get it translated. They worked hard to intimidate me. They tried to intimidate me. The nurse was repeatedly laughing in my face, Maya, whom I met. Then she put the telephone out and practically in the middle of the conversation disregarded me, stepped aside, started to talk on the telephone and so on, and tried to walk away from me, totally disregarding. And so I wanted to make sure that she feels me, that she understands that issue. She was completely different during MK Ultra. She appeared to be a really nice person and everything, but it became evident today about who and what really she was and what she is all about. These are the people because of whom I lost 53 years and even end up inside of the psychiatric hospital in 2012. I don't take these people as lightly. The closest description that it comes to when I see these people is, like I explained to her, it makes no difference whether there will be a German Gestapo walking in the uniforms in front of me or you guys. Like I said, this is recording from October the 1st, 2025. October the 1st, 2025. Father, again, totally lost. Lack of sleep, and maybe is just much worse. Maybe this time they did even worse. Let's not forget, I attempted on multiple occasions to contact physically, stopping at the home for elderly people, at the reception desk, to step in contact with either a social worker or Andrea Jeric, administrator, manager Andrea Jeric, or other administration pertaining to the health problems of my father. That already happened. I engaged in multiple attempts, phone call attempts to contact the people at home for elderly people. These people would simply not answer the phone. With the last resource I was left today on October the 1st, 2025, and that's basically to get directly in touch with medical personnel, with the nursing staff in this case, since physicians or nobody was really available. They have physicians also at home for elderly people, and just nobody was again available. This is not the first time the stuff that you hear. This already took on multiple occasions before already, with phone calls. I was trying to get in touch, that the receptionist gave me a phone numbers to call, as well as personally I stopped by at home for elderly people, and yeah, none available. And so I supposed to wait another 4 days until next week sometimes to get the answer from this nurse, who did nothing but promise me will check on the dosage of the medications that are given to the father, administered to the father by home for elderly personnel, workers, employees, I should say, staff, nursing staff. And that's all there is, without even giving me, I said, you're going to give me some number? No. How do I get in touch with you? Is by basically stopping by at receptionist sometimes next week, because I have off tomorrow, after tomorrow, and then Saturday and Sunday, you already know, and so on, and I don't know what else I'm supposed to know. Without giving me any kind of assurance, anything pertaining to either issue that she would talk to about the coffee to mom or something like that. Shit. Nothing, 0 point nothing. And those are also identical. It was identical answer to those I received from administration. They just disregard anything that I inquire about. I never get any answer. They simply disregard. So this is what we had going on. The following is a recording in Slovenian language, October the 1st, 2025. Eventually, at one point in time, they did have police implicated. So one of the police officers who was based on MK Ultra, he even arrested me and so on. But the only thing I'm going to say, go ahead and make my day. The following is in Slovenian language. Everything I basically going to hear is already, I explained to you everything in what I gave you.
Mene čakate. Ja. Ok, bodo še kar z mano vas? A ja, tudi pišem. Evo, Maja. Aha, Maja. Imate kar dve, ki ste ga. Ja. Super. Super, ja. Ok, Maja rekla, da je dana? Ja, tamo. Ja, tisto. Mislim, da ne bomo imela časa za njo, ampak Maja, sedla? Najlepša hvala. Ne bomo obremenjevali s tem. Često. Bom sicer ponovil, da meni ni dovoljeno tukaj v vašo stavbo noter je brez spremstva mame. Prisotnost je dovoljena samo tukaj, se pravi, okoli kuhnje, v tem vhodu tukaj. Probal sem stvari opozoriti predhodno vašo socialno delavko, še do poskusov kontaktiranja gospe Jeričeve, Andreje, kot vašega drugega osebja. Ti ljudje so zelo zasedeni in ne odgovarjajo na telefone. Prišel je iz mojega večkratnih telefonskih klicev. In glede na tak odnos, kot je tu, ker je v bistvu isti odnos, kot čisto tako povedano, če bi imel tukaj gestapovce, ki bi hodili noter, Nemce, ne bi bilo nobene razlike iz mojega stališča z vami. Čisto tako vam bom povedal, kaj jaz vidim v vas. Kot ljudeh, ki ste zaposleni tukaj. To je ena stvar. Druga stvar, ki je tak odnos imate do mene. Zaradi posebej še, kar ste izvajali za policijo v tej stavbi noter in okoli stavbe, proti meni, pa tudi z očetom ste se igrali. Njegovo zdravstveno stanje je usklajeno z vašim pranjem možganov. Se pravi, z policijskim pranjem možganov, med katerim ste, kako bi rekel to, med katerim ste
Jaz grem v lekarno.
Morda povzviševal.
V lekarno grem.
Prav, mami. Bom prišel za tabo, pa te bom pobral. Poudarjali ste problematičnost zdravstveno očeta na eni stopnji tega pranja možganov, mučenja tukaj, češ da oče se ne more naspati. In oče dejansko že trpi en mesec zaradi nespečnosti, ki se pa potem odraža v njegovem zdravstvenem stanju med našimi srečanji. Se pravi, pride do ene take letargičnosti, izčrpanosti. Predvsem se mi zdi, da je nekako, oziroma nam rekel, predvsem se mi zdi, on je očitno, kakor jaz to opažam, to je že 1 mesec pa pol traja to stanje njegovo. On je očitno vidno izčrpan na osnovi nespečnosti, kar mi tudi sam ponavlja med vsakim obiskom, s tem, da jaz sem mamo opozarjal, tako kot ste jo vi med tisto MK Ultra, oziroma vsaj meni se tako možgane pravi. Jaz dejansko ne vem, kakšno je njegovo zdravstveno stanje, ker vi ste tukaj zato, da dokažete, da je z mano nekaj narobe, zato imate očeta tukaj noter. Moj oče je vaš talc tukaj noter.
Okay.
Da mama mu daje kavo, češ ustrajali ste, da je to zaradi tega, ker mu mama daje kavo. Predhodno so že imeli pogovore z vašim zdravstvenim osebjem, da naj bi mu kave ne dajala. Tu smo imeli ne med MK Ultra postopkom, vendar med našimi srečanji tukaj v vaši ustanovi. Vsi tehniki so ji ponovili te stvari, naj kave ne daje. Mama fotra očeta vsakodnevno za kavo. Jaz se bojim, da ga bo to uničilo.
Kaj, kava?
Tako.
Okay.
Tu je ena stvar. Druga stvar je pa, jaz nimam dostopa do njegovega zdravstvenega stanja nikakor, do nobenih izvidov oziroma do nobenih živja. Nimam do zdravnika, ki bi mi povedal niti kakšno sredstvo dobiva, koliko teh sredstv dobiva. Vi ste se igrali z uspavali, igrali ste se z okužbami z bakterijami, igrali ste se z vsekakršnimi stvarmi na tisto MK Ultra, ki ste jih prakticirali, zato da bi videli z zdravniškim osebjem iz bolnice, ki je tukaj prihajalo, iz novomeške bolnice, da bi videli, kako je v bistvu, kako to, kaj se da, očitno, koliko se da stvari daleč poriniti. In jaz nisem fajn s temi zadevami. Bi se vi lahko pobrigali, da mama ne daje več očetu kave? Za začetek.
To je glavna skrb, ki vi zdaj imate, ta kava, da je mama ne daje več.
Veste?
Ne, jaz sem želim, da mi da se zmenimo.
Jaz vam bom eno stvar povedal. Tega pogovora niste vzela čist nič sabo zdajle.
Do jaz sem vzela mrtve glede nespečnosti, glede kave, glede bolnice vsega.
Povedal sem vam, jaz nimam nobenega nadzora oziroma upogleda.
Ja, se razumem, vsega nimate.
V očetovo zdravstveno stanje. Veste, še enkrat vam povedal, meni ni dovoljeno iti gor na njegov oddelek 203 sobo. Meni ni dovoljeno za socialno delavko, za zdravniškim osebjem, da bi upogled v njegove, kaj dobi, ali dobi uspavala, ali dobi uno ali tretjo. Edino stvar, ki sem jaz opazil, na katero vas jaz lahko upozorim, je, da so vaši tehniki upozorili, naj mama ne daje kave, jaz sem pa opazil, da oče je na polovico crkjen med našimi srečanji, do katerih prihaja, se pravi zaradi nespečnosti. Če človek je nespečen, potem človek ne more pač funkcionirati pravilno in tako naprej. To so čisto take osnovne stvari. Zato sem rekel za začetek morda, da bi lahko pogledali, kakšno je njegovo stanje s to kavo.
Ja, to jaz lahko pogledam, kakšne so njegove terapije, ki jih prijema.
Vem, samo jaz tega ne bom dobil nobenega upogleda glede tega, zaradi tega, ker ste pač to zadevo na tak način uredili.
Ja, vaša mama jo dobi.
Vi ste zadevo na tak, se pravi država Slovenija je to zadevo na tak način.
Glejte, mi dva zdaj o državi Sloveniji bova zelo težko kaj predebatirala. Jaz sem tukaj pač zaradi zdravstvenega stanja in oskrbe vašega očeta. Kontakt, s katerim komuniciramo, je vaša mama. Vaša mama ima v pogled v vso terapijo, v vso oskrbo, v vso diagnozo.
Jaz sem njegov sin, to se zavedate, ne? Boštjan Avsec sem.
Jaz se vem, kdo ste, se vem.
Jaz se vas tudi spomnim. Jaz se vas spomnim iz MK Ultra, se vas spomnim. Vi ste bila bolj taka prijazna, vse to. In do tega srečanja je točno prišel po tistih vaših napotkih, češ, da bo tudi tako bilo. To se čisto spomnim. Lejte.
Lejte, jaz se vam pravim, jaz bom pogledala zdaj diagnozo, pogledala bom terapijo.
Veste, kaj ste vi meni tam gor delali, do česa je prihajalo? Veste, kaj se zdaj dogaja?
Ja.
Tam gor je prišel do tega, da ste dali navodila, kako bo oče, kdaj bo oče imel ob določenih srečanjih z določenimi ljudmi pred mano, bo imel težke tiste, kako bom rekel, diarejo, diarejo. Ne vem, drisko, po slovensko drisko. Kar pomeni, da imate ne samo popoln nadzor, ampak da tako, kot ste se igrali med postopkom MK Ultra, med vašim pranjem možganov, ste potem to zadevo izvajali pred mano v realnem času. To je moj oče. To je ena stvar, zato sem vas primeril za gestapovci pa z Nemci. Druga stvar, ki je zdaj, vidim očeta, vsakič, ko je prišlo do tega, do zboljšanja njegovega stanja, se je ponavljala ali infekcija, ali se je pojavljala, ali se je zgodilo celo tudi, da se dom zaprl, da jaz nisem mogel do očeta več priti, da bi naprej vaje delala in tako naprej. Se pravi, tukaj se dogaja eno prav načrtno retardiranje njegovega zdravstvenega stanja, tako da ga jaz ne morem rehabilitirati nazaj v normalno zdravstveno stanje. Tako da jaz imam svoje razloge za to zadevo.
Zdaj jaz vas razumem, ampak mi glede njegovega zdravstvenega stanja komuniciramo z vašo mamo. Tudi jaz sem pač informacij ne morem.
Ja, se pravi, da mene tretirate tako kot debila, kot umsko omejeno osebo.
Ne, pri nas vsak stanovalec ima eno kontaktno osebo in mi komuniciramo s tisto osebo. In ostalim osebam se ne daje informacij. Zdaj vas bom pa jaz mogla nažalost zapustiti, prav? Bom preverila glede uspaval,
Takole me boste zapustila brez kakršnikoli obljub, da se boste pogovorili z mamo glede kave ali česarkoli.
Se pravim, da bom jaz...
Jaz sem vam tukaj povedal, kako je, kakšen stan. Mislim, to ni normalna stvar.
To je tukaj, vam jaz nekaj povem. To je tukaj sledi odlično največ obdavljega z mene. Tukaj drugega smisla se predoteral.
Kaj bo se pa naredilo v vezi kave?
Najprej bom govorila na oddelku, potem bom govorila še
Bom jaz dobil kakšno sporočilo, karkoli, ničesar.
Bravo, Maja. Že kultura. Z vami jaz pač komunicirala, najverjetneje ne bom razen, če to prišel sem, bo da hotel spet kaj govoriti, pa pridem, da vas bom pa nekaj kontaktirala glede tega, kaj smo šli.
Tukaj recepcionist, ki se lahko z vami pogovori.
Lahko, ne zdaj to, da boste vsak dan prišli, ampak če s kakšen tekem pride, bo videla, kaj gleda.
Imate kakšen telefonsko številko?
Na recepciji rečete. Na recepciji rečete, pa bodo mene kontaktirali, pa pridem, prav?
Na recepciji naj...
Tukaj rečete, da je diplomirana sestra Maja, pa mene bodo kontaktirali, pa pridem, prav?
Se pravi, imate obljubek ničesar, glede kave, česarkoli, dobrega stanja, karkoli, da se naredi, da bo se ukrepalo.
Ne, jaz sem povedala, da bom
in da ne neče pa zvedel. Gospod, tudi se končal normalno pogovor. Jaz vas bom učil bontona.
Gospod, jaz sem bom rekla,
Jaz nisem sicer ustanove, kamor sem napadno zredil. Nekaj se baz imam. Tudi če bi imel osnovno šolo, bi vedel, da to človekom dela. Če se srečaš s človekom, s takšnimi skrbnikom, ki jih imam, jaz zdaj, ko si mi bom dal, potem bi mu povedal, vsaj kaj bom naredil v vezi tega. Oziroma, kako ga bom obvestil v vezi tega. Vi ste mi povedala, da edini, ki bom pogled je mama, jaz nimam nobenega pogleda, pa tudi povedala ste mi, da morda, če bom tukaj prišel recepcionisti in...
Ne, nisem rekla morda, rekla sem, da lahko naslednji teden pridete tudi na recepcijo.
Naslednji teden?
Ja. Naslednji teden. Danes je sreda, odstotna sem do petek, prisotna sem...
Jaz bi prišel naslednji teden, zato ker ni družbe zdravnika, s komu bi se bi lahko posvetovala v vezi kave, recimo. Ne, vi ste rekli, da se pomenila z mano. Jaz nisem zadovoljen z vami. Enostavno nisem zadovoljen.
Ja, jaz pa nažalost nisem zadovoljna.
Hvala za vaščet. Ok, tu sem hotel prav. Najlepša hvala. Lep dan želim. Kako tu je?
Kaj se s to govoriš?
Ti veš kaj, malo problemov imam z očetom, ker oče ne spi, ne dobi dovolj spanja. Tukaj je že 3 leta ga imajo noter. Tu je težko zdravstveno stanje, tu je v bistvu večinoma preživi v pojsti noter, se ne giblje, tu je problem z ledvicami noter, ima v želodcu ima noter cevko, po kateri prihaja hrana noter in mama ga futra noter s kavo in takimi zadevami zjutraj. In tu verjetno morda celo ima kaj veze z nespečnostjo, morda nima. Glede na to pa da jaz nimam nobenega vpogleda v zdravstveno stanje njegovo, preko teh zdravnikov tukaj, sem pa s tem zaskrbljen. In odgovore, katere dajo, so absurdni. Mislim, name gledajo tako, da sem pički ni, ne, tudi ne obstojim. Veš, ti je moj oče. Jaz ne dovolim tega tukaj. Ne gre to tako. Vrti se me. Ajde, jaz sem naredim dneva težkega.